Good morning, children. Bhagya ma'am has already completed the PU part of inverse trigonometry and also the CET part. Today I will be taking two topics from inverse trigonometric functions, which is mainly dependent on mains concept. So to begin with, let's take what is the principal value of sin inverse x. Principal value of sin inverse x is minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. This can be written as minus pi by 2 less than or equal to sin inverse x less than or equal to pi by 2. What this says is the minimum value of sin inverse x is minus pi by 2. The maximum value of sin inverse x is pi by 2. Okay, so minus pi by 2 is the minimum value of sin inverse x, pi by 2 is the maximum value of sin inverse x. Let's take a simple equation: sin inverse x1 plus sin inverse x2 is equal to pi. Then you need to find out what are the values of x1 and x2. Okay, so to start with, I can write sin inverse x1 plus sin inverse x2 equal to pi. This equation can be written as 2 pi by 2. So this is x1, this is x2. Now here we are telling the maximum value of sin inverse x is pi by 2. So what is the maximum value this can take? Pi by 2. What is the maximum value this can take? Pi by 2. If you add both pi by 2 plus pi by 2, you will get 2 pi by 2. This is the maximum value you can take. You cannot take more than pi by 2. If you take less than pi by 2, then you will not get 2 pi by 2. So you need to take sin inverse of x1 as pi by 2 only, sin inverse of x2 as pi by 2 only. So sin inverse of x1 is equal to sin inverse of x2 is equal to pi by 2. Both these values are equal to pi by 2. When this value is equal to pi by 2, x1 and x2 both must be equal to 1. Sin inverse of 1 is equal to pi by 2. Sin inverse of 1 is equal to pi by 2. So these are the values of, one is the value of x1 and x2. Suppose if I have sin inverse of x1 plus sin inverse of x2 plus sin inverse of x3 plus and so on plus sin inverse of xn. Now instead of taking two terms, I am making it a generalized equation x1 x2 till xn. Now if you have the sum of these sin inverse is equal to n pi by 2. Here if you carefully observe, here you have only two terms, so it is becoming 2 pi by 2. Here how many terms are there? N terms are there, so it becomes n pi by 2. Again, the maximum value of all these terms is equal to pi by 2. So sin inverse x1 is equal to sin inverse x2 equal to till sin inverse xn is equal to pi by 2. Each sin inverse term will be equal to pi by 2. Then when you add all this, you will get n pi by 2. So if this is the case, the values of x1, x2, x3, all these values must be equal to 1. This is a condition based on what we have seen. Sin inverse x plus sin inverse y plus sin inverse z is given as 3 pi by 2 and some values is given, f of 2 is 2, and this is a condition, f of a plus b is equal to f of a into f of b, which is satisfied for all a comma b belongs to R. Then he is asking what is x power f of 2, y power f of 4, z power f of 6 are in, whether it is in GP, AGP, GP, arithmetic progression, arithmetic geometric progression, geometric progression. These three terms satisfies which of these conditions? If you look at the equation, sin inverse x, sin inverse y, sin inverse z. Here you have three terms, and right side you have 3 pi by 2. So the simple way is, as we have seen, x, y and z values will be equal to 1. So when x, y and z values are equal to 1, if you take 1 power f of 2, you get 1, 1 power f of 4 is 1, 1 power f of 6 is also 1. We do not need these values at all. We are not going to make use of these values, because we are getting 1 power anything will be 1 itself. So 1 power f of 2, 1 power f of 4, 1 power f of 6, this is equal to 1 itself. Now these are the three values we are getting. We need to check whether this is in arithmetic progression, arithmetic geometric progression, or in arithmetic progression. If we take the common difference between these two terms, the common difference between these two terms is 0. The common difference between these two terms is also 0. So you have a common difference of 0. So this satisfies arithmetic progression. Now check whether this satisfies for geometric progression. What is geometric progression? The common ratio must be same. What is the common ratio of these two terms? The common ratio of these two terms is 1. The common ratio of these two terms is also equal to 1. So this condition is satisfied for geometric progression also. So this is a multi-answer question. You have two options for this, option A and option C. So you get two options. Let's study the same concept for cos inverse x. Principal value of cos inverse x is 0 to pi. Now this can be written as 0 less than or equal to cos inverse x less than or equal to pi. 0 is the minimum value of cos inverse x. Pi is the maximum value of cos inverse x. So if we write again, cos inverse x1 plus cos inverse x2 plus and so on till cos inverse xn, if this is equal to n times pi, the maximum value of each this is equal to pi. So when you take the maximum value and add all this, the resultant will be equal to n pi. So each of these terms, is equal to pi. Cos inverse xn is equal to pi. So each value is equal to pi. For what condition of x1, x2 we get the value pi? When x1 is equal to, x2 is equal to, x3 is equal to, xn is equal to minus 1. Cos inverse of minus 1 is pi. Cos inverse of minus 1 is pi. So x1, x2, x3 till xn, the values of all these must be equal to minus 1. Only then we get the value as pi. This is our next question based on just the topic what you have seen. Cos inverse x plus cos inverse y plus cos inverse z is equal to 3 pi. Then you need to find what is the value of sigma x y. Sigma is nothing but the summation. Summation of what? Summation of product sigma xy is equal to summation of two terms. Each time you have to take the summation of two values, that is xy plus yz plus zx. You can ask the question, sir, z is not there. Z is not there in this summation. Okay, but if you look at the equation, you have three values that are involved in the equation. Each time you have to take product of two values. So we are considering xy plus yz plus zx. Now look at the equation that is given. Cos inverse x plus cos inverse y plus cos inverse z is equal to 3 pi. What is the maximum value of cos inverse x? Pi. Maximum value of cos inverse y is pi. Again this maximum value is pi. If we take the maximum value of these three terms, which is pi, and take the sum of this, you get 3 pi. So the maximum value only you can consider, we cannot consider less than that. If we consider less than pi, we will not get the sum as 3 pi. So cos inverse x is equal to cos inverse y is equal to cos inverse z is equal to pi. When these values are equal to pi, x, y, z values must be equal to minus 1. Only then we get cos inverse of minus 1 as pi. Cos inverse of minus 1 will be equal to pi. Okay. Now substitute these values in the equation. This is equal to minus 1 into minus 1 plus minus 1 into minus 1, that is 1, plus minus 1 into minus 1. 1 plus 1 plus 1, which is equal to 3. So our correct option will be C. The two topics what we have seen are very important for mains level, and sometimes those questions can also be asked even in the CET level. Now let's take up the next topic, sin inverse of sin x is equal to what? This sin inverse of sin x is equal to x, but under conditions. Under what condition sin inverse of sin x is equal to what? So is equal to x. This is not equal for all real numbers. We need to study what are the conditions where this condition is satisfied. Okay. So before going into that, first we need to understand what is the domain and what is the range of this equation. What is the domain of sin inverse theta? Domain of sin inverse theta is minus 1 to 1. That means what? Theta must belong to minus 1 to 1. Here theta is nothing but sin x. So this sin x should belong to minus 1 to 1. Sin x belongs to minus 1 to 1 for what values of x? You can take for any real number, sin x value will be equal to minus 1 to 1. That means the domain of this function is x. Remember, still we are not looking at this condition. We are only studying what is the domain of this part. Okay. So the domain of this part is for all real numbers. This can be satisfied but not equal to x. We will study that in just few minutes. Now what is the range? Remember, domain is nothing but the values of x. Domain is nothing but the values of x. Range is nothing but the values of y. This will give you domain. This will give you range. So y values are nothing but the range. X values will give you the domain. Now what is the range? Range is sin inverse. What all values sin inverse can take? Sin inverse of sin x. What is the range? Sin x range is equal to -1 to 1. If you take sin inverse of this, sin inverse of sin x will be equal to sin inverse of -1. If you take this as -1, it becomes minus pi by 2. Sin inverse of 1 is equal to pi by 2. So this is the range. Now we have studied what is the domain and range of this. Domain of sin inverse of sin x equal to r. Range of sin inverse of sin x is equal to minus pi by 2 till pi by 2. We have studied only what is the domain and what is the range of this function. Still we are not studied what is this condition, under what condition this is equal to x. Now to study this condition, when this is equal to x, I take 3 number lines. On this number line I take the values of x. Just now we have seen this is the domain. So here I can take any real number. On this number line I take the values of sin x. On this number line I take the values of sin inverse of sin x. So here I can take any real number. I can take 0, pi by 2, pi, minus pi by 2, minus pi. I can go on. I can take any values. Sin x. What is the range of sin x? The range of sin x is only from -1 to 1. So I take 0, -1 and 1. What is the range of sin inverse of sin x? This range is minus pi by 2, 0, pi by 2. So here I am taking only what is the range of sin inverse of sin x. Here I have taken only what is the range of sin x. Here I take x. X is nothing but the domain. So I take entire real numbers. Okay. Now study what is. Now we will study what is this condition that is satisfying. Suppose x is equal to 0. Then what is sin 0? Sin 0 is 0. Sin inverse of 0. Sin inverse of 0 is 0. I take one more number, pi by 4. X is equal to pi by 4. What is sin? Sin pi by 4. Sin pi by 4 is 1 by root 2. So sin pi by 4 is 1 by root 2. Now what is sin inverse of 1 by root 2? That will give me pi by 4. Let's take negative side. Suppose I take minus pi by 6. X is minus pi by 6. What is sin of minus pi by 6? Sin of minus pi by 6 is minus 1 by 2. So this is minus 1 by 2. Now sin x is minus 1 by 2. Sin inverse of minus 1 by 2 is minus pi by 6. So pi by 6 will give me minus 1 by 2 and minus 1 by 2 will give me pi by 6. Now if you are taking the values in the interval from minus pi by 2 to pi by 2, I am getting the same values. If I take x equal to 0, then sin inverse of sin 0 is equal to 0. If x is equal to pi by 4, sin inverse of sin pi by 4 is equal to pi by 4. X is equal to minus pi by 6. Sin inverse of sin pi by minus pi by 6 is equal to minus pi by 6. Now suppose if I take any value which is not in this interval. Suppose I take a value 5 pi by 6. 5 pi by 6 is not in the interval minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. Okay. So if I take 5 pi by 6 x, then what is sin of 5 pi by 6? This can be written as sin of pi minus pi by 6. This comes in second quadrant. In second quadrant sin is positive, so this becomes sin of pi by 6, which is equal to 1 by 2. So if I take x equal to pi by 2, sin 5 pi by 6 will become 1 by 2. So this value is equal to 1 by 2. Now what is sin inverse of 1 by 2? Sin inverse of 1 by 2 is equal to sin inverse of 1 by 2 is equal to pi by 6. See here I am taking a value which is not in minus pi by 2 to pi by 2 interval. But what is the value I am getting sin inverse of sin x? I am getting in the interval minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. So the same value you are getting only when you take from minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. If you take any value other than this, you are not getting the same value. That is sin inverse of sin 5 pi by 6 is not equal to 5 pi by 6. This is not satisfied. So what we can observe from this is sin inverse of sin x will be equal to x if x belongs to minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. If x belongs to this interval, only then this value will become x. If you take any value this side or more than pi by 2, you will not get the same value. Like here, all these values are in this interval. So you get the same value. Here you take 0, you get 0. Here you take pi by 4, the same value you get pi by 4. Here you take minus pi by 6, you get same minus pi by 6. They are in this interval. But 5 pi by 6. 5 pi by 6 is not in this interval. So you do not get 5 pi by 6. But what you are getting is 1 by 2. Okay? Let's take some problems based on this. Sin inverse of sin 1, sin inverse of sin 2, sin inverse of sin 3, sin inverse of sin 4, sin inverse of sin 5. What are these values? Here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are given in terms of radians. So to find out that value, we will convert this in radians. That is minus pi by 2 will become 1.57. Pi by 2 is 1.57. Based on the condition sin inverse of sin x is equal to x only if x belongs to minus 1.57 to 1.57. Now if you take the first question, sin inverse of sin 1. 1 belongs to minus 1.57 to 1.57. Since 1 belongs to this interval, this value will be equal to 1. Sin inverse of sine 2. Now 2 does not belongs to this interval. 2 does not belongs to minus 1.57 to 1.57. When this value does not belongs to the interval, we have to bring this value into this interval. To bring this into that interval, we have to add or subtract integral multiples of pi. That is, we have to add and subtract pi, or we have to add and subtract 2 pi. We need to add and subtract 3 pi based on the value that is given here. Now suppose if I take pi minus 2, what is pi? 3.14 minus 2, which is equal to 1.14. Pi minus 2 is 1.14, which is in this interval. So I can add and subtract pi. Sine inverse of sine pi minus pi minus 2. I am adding pi and I am subtracting pi. This is minus into minus, it becomes plus 2. Now what is sine pi minus theta? Sine pi minus theta is sine theta. So sine of pi minus theta, so you get pi minus 2. Now because this pi minus 2, which is 1.14, belongs to this interval, this will be equal to pi minus 2. So sine inverse of sine 2 is equal to pi minus 2. Why we are adding and subtracting pi? Because 2 is not in the interval minus 1.57 to 1.57. We have got sine inverse of sine 1 is equal to 1. Sine inverse of sine 2 is equal to pi minus 2. Now take sine inverse of sine 3. Sine inverse of sine 3. Again, 3 does not belong to minus 1.57 to 1.57. When this value does not belong to 7, immediately we check pi minus 3. What is pi minus 3? 3.14 minus 3, which is equal to 0.14. This value belongs to the interval minus 1.57 to 1.57. So once you get this value belongs to this interval, then we can add and subtract this term. So we take sine inverse of sine pi minus 3. This is equal to, again we have sine pi minus theta. Sine pi minus theta is sine theta. So sine inverse of sine, you get pi minus 3. Now pi minus 3, which is 0.14, is in this interval. We can write this as pi minus 3. So sine inverse of sine 3 is equal to pi minus 3. Now take sine inverse of sine 4. Again, 4 does not belong to minus 1.57 to 1.57. So again what we do? We take pi minus 4, which is 3.14 minus 4, which is equal to minus 0.86. Minus 0.86 is in the interval minus 1.57 to 1.57. Because it is in this interval, we can again, by using the same method here, we get this value as pi minus 4. Let's take sine inverse of sine 5. Sine inverse of sine 5. Again same, phi does not belongs to the interval. We need to get this into this interval. First we take pi minus 5, which is equal to 3.14 minus 5, which is equal to minus 1.86. We are subtracting with pi, we get minus 1.86, but this is also not in the interval minus 1.57 to 1.57. What are these values? Remember, these values are nothing but minus pi by 2 to pi by 2 only. I am just converting them in terms of radians. So what we need to do now? Pi minus 5 is also not in the interval. As I said, if pi does not satisfy, then we have to consider the next multiple of pi. So we consider 2 pi minus 5. 2 pi is 6.28 minus 5, which is equal to 1.28. Now this 1.28 belongs to the interval minus 1.57 to 1.57. So now I add and subtract. Instead of adding and subtracting pi, now I add and subtract 2 pi. Sin inverse of sine of if you carefully observe, in the previous problems I have taken pi minus theta, but here I am taking 2 pi plus. Here I am taking 2 pi plus theta. Why I am taking pi minus, why I am taking 2 pi plus theta? In this, sine is positive. All are positive, sine is also positive. In this, sine is positive. But if I take in 2 pi minus theta, which comes in fourth quadrant, here sine becomes negative. If I take 2 pi minus theta instead of 2 pi plus, I get negative. So I do not consider this negative term. Because I need positive term, I will take this plus. Okay? So sine inverse of sine 2 pi plus theta, which comes in first quadrant, all are positive. So you get 5 minus 2 pi. 2 pi minus 5 is 1.28. 5 minus 2 pi is minus 1.28. That also belongs to this interval. So this will be equal to 5 minus 2 pi. So this value is equal to 5 minus 2 pi. Not only for 5, you can take any number here. You can take 5, you can take 10, you can take 20, you can take 50. You can take any number, but based on the number that you take here, we will change the values of pi. You can take 2 pi, 3 pi, 4 pi, 5 pi, 10 pi, 20 pi, based on the value that you consider here. These questions what I have done just now is there in your MTG book itself. Some questions are there in self-assessment, some questions are there in this question, sine inverse of sine 5. This question is there in assertion and reasoning. You can go through that book also. And ma'am has said that all of you are eagerly awaiting to study calculus. So next class we will be studying the calculus topic. I will be starting continuity. But before going into the topic, I request all of you to go through the first year topic, that is limits. Once you are thorough with the limits, or once you have at least the basic idea of limits, then it will be easy for you to understand the limits. No doubt I will be giving you the basics of limits. I will be doing a quick revision of limits also, but it will be easier for you to revise it. It will be easier for you to understand understand it thoroughly once you have the basic understanding of limits. So I request you, all of you, to go through the limits topic also. Thank you. We will be meeting in the next class.